Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, Mom Had an Affair 18 Years Ago. I, 18M, am the product of it. Dad told me he won't pay for my college. Pretty much the title. I have no idea how to process all this, and I am completely unprepared for what lies ahead. Both my older brother and sister went to the same college. My brother graduated 2 years ago. My sister is set to graduate in 2 years. Both had their college paid by our dad. Dad paid all their college expenses, including rent, food, their cars, pocket money, you name it. My brother has a job now, his own place, lives together with his fiancée, and has his life together. My sister already has a good paying job, and my dad still pays for almost everything for her. I got accepted to the same college, which was always the plan, and was looking forward to talking with my parents about the next steps and ask them to help me the same they did for my siblings. I always assumed they had money put aside for my college the way they had for my siblings. Instead, I was met with a story about my mom's cheating, how I am the result of her cheating, and how my dad is not willing to support me anymore moving forward. Dad told me that Mom had 18 years to let me know and prepare me for the future, but obviously she never did. He said it was never placed to say anything since I am not his son and didn't want to interfere with Mom's parenting. Apparently my grandparents know I am not Dad's biological son, but they haven't bothered to tell me anything either. My siblings had no idea, and they are as surprised as I am because there was never a hint of anything being off. I might be naive, but I always thought I had a great relationship with my dad. We go to see sports together, we go fishing together, he tutored me when I had difficulties with math. Dad is an engineer, he taught me to drive. I never got a hint he stores resentment towards me. I mean, he gave me my name, and has explained what my name means, and he was very proud of it. It's a story he tells from time to time. He likes to talk about stuff like that about me. My mom has never said a word about anything, and apparently she was supposed to have the talk with me, but she never did. I feel abandoned and unprepared for what lies ahead. I am not even sure I will be able to go to college anymore. I always assumed my parents will pay for it. I never had a job, and I am not sure what job I can even get to support me through college. I have no idea how to apply for loans. All my mom has done is cry and apologize. But nothing of substance, she has no idea how to help me. I don't even know if I am welcomed home anymore, it's all up in the air. I feel shame leaving my room, and if I will be asked to move out I don't know where to go. I don't have any savings, maybe $400 put together. I am angry at my mom. I am confused about where I stand with my dad. There's a man out there who is my father that never wanted to have anything to do with me. I feel rejected and I have no idea what to do to fix this situation. Anyone have any idea what to do here? Do I apologize to my dad? What do I say to him? IDK, I've been stuck in my room these past few days, reading and browsing Reddit. I have no idea what to do. Update. Sorry to disappear, nothing bad happened to me. Managed to talk with my mom yesterday, but I chickened out halfway through what I had to say, sad face. The good news is that I am not being kicked out, or disowned, etc. Thank you for all your support, everyone. I will follow through and call financial aid at my college in a few hours and take it from there. My grandpa had a stroke a week ago, and my dad is helping my grandma with setting up a live-in nurse, so he wasn't around yesterday. I will let you know how I manage. Update 2. Sorry for not updating, my grandpa passed away yesterday morning. Nothing happened to me, but my situation is a secondary concern right now. Regardless, I think I will be alright, thanks to your amazing support and help. My sister is aware of everything, and told me not to worry, she has my back and I have her support. I promise to update when and if there are any significant changes. Right now I need to support my grandma. Thank you again to everyone. A user in the comments said, As a college-bound high school graduate, you have a number of job options. You can look up a temp agency, you can see if there's any unfilled summer positions left. There's always fast food, but I would recommend an office-type position. See if there's any large financial institutions nearby, such as banks and insurance companies. Large accounting firms are also good. If you can get your foot in such a place doing call center, filling up the photocopier, whatever, you can pursue something accounting, business-related in community college. It wouldn't be a bad idea to find out whose team led in the call center, for instance, and see if you can call them. If you see a job you like, and there's a contact number, call it. You may not be qualified for this job, but they may have another. Go getting in some initiative will get you surprisingly far in my experience. It's not the end of the world, but it sure would have been nice to know 3 years ago. Of course, it was also always the easiest for both your parents to just dump it all on you when you're 18. Another user said, "This is all incredibly disturbing. What puzzles me, if your father feels this way about paying for college, why did he spend any money raising you? It costs roughly $200,000 plus to raise a kid to the age of 18. It's odd him feeling this way and not walking away 18 years ago when this happened. He raised you as his son, yet he has this bitterness he's holding against your mother over college tuition for you. Almost like it's her punishment for her betrayal, but you are the only one being truly punished and you did nothing wrong. It's just so bizarre. As for you figuring out your college financing, I recommend you go to the local community college for 2 years, as they are relatively inexpensive. Then transfer to a state school. Make sure all your community college credits will transfer. I'm assuming you're in the USA. Good luck." The next one is titled, "Update to the Affair Kid Story." I am not sure if it's what you want to hear, but things are more or less back to a normal state, if you consider other events. Unfortunately, my grandpa died at the beginning of this week, and I am still processing it. I did manage to talk with both my mom and dad, and I know where I now stand in relation with them, as well as my siblings. I am not sure I would have had the courage to say what I had to say if not for the amount of help and advice in the comments. I think it is safe to say both my parents love me, and what happened 2 weeks ago was an overreaction to a fight between my parents. It makes me uncomfortable knowing I am not aware of my own environment, but a stranger in the comments can tell me what's happening in my life with only a few lines of text from my side. A lot of comments were spot on about what is happening in my life. I have so far gone through 40%, I estimate, of the comments, but I have given up. There are too many for me to keep up with. The conclusion is that I am definitely going to college. It will be the college I have always wanted to go to, and I will have the same experience as my siblings. The money to pay for all this already exists. My family is not going bankrupt as suggested. My dad just had a mental breakup with all the issues around my grandpa and his fight with my mom. Even if my dad would have gone through with his decision, my grandma let me know my grandpa left me and my siblings a sum we will have to split between the 3 of us, but enough to put me through college. What started the entire scandal was poor timing on my part. My parents just had a fight, and then I showed up. "Hey, pay for my college." My parents were talking about us, their children, and mom said something to the lines of, "To think you wanted to split up when I came back pregnant," or something like that. I was not there. This is what she told me. I guess dad was talking how proud he was of his children, and mom wanted to express her gratitude for dad raising me as his own, and dad took it as the affair was the best decision I ever made, or something like that. And their fight escalated from there, and mom told dad something like, "What makes you think any of them are yours?" Yeah, it went downhill from there fast. Shortly after that my dumb face showed up, and here I am. Dad and mom have since made up. Mom is still a mess. Dad is not handling my grandpa's passing away too well either. I did talk with my siblings, and my sister raised a storm and wrote it here while blasting my parents on the phone. Haha. My brother was calmer, but made his feelings known in no uncertain terms as well once he got back home. My grandpa passing away sort of kept spirits calm, I guess, and shifted the focus to dealing with that. Reading the comments was a mind-opening experience. I felt unprepared for the world out there. Many have asked how I had no idea how to apply for loans or grants. Well, in my defense, when you go year after year after year knowing you have nothing to worry about, that your college is good as paid for already, you don't really have to worry about anything else. Of course, I knew there are loans and other things students have to be aware of, but it didn't apply to me. I went from, I am going to college, can't wait, to, you're not my son and I will not pay for your college, in less than 24 hours. Others have been prepared for this, at the very least they knew they had to get a loan, or get a job, look for a place to live, and so on. For me it was a sudden change in reality. Going through the comments I managed to put a list together with various tips and tricks. What jobs are available for students, how to find a place to live, how to get a credit card, a bank account, a cell phone plan, and so on. Really good stuff that I think, even after the return to normal, will help me. My parents have been called more names than they go by, and that was uncomfortable to read, and I haven't even read all comments. I can't even imagine what else lies in the comments, waiting. Dad is very sorry, apologetic, about his reaction and behavior. I understand his reaction, but I still feel hurt by it. I understand he was not in the best place of mind, but I can't control my feelings either. We will be alright, and this hasn't irreparably damaged our relationship. Mom hasn't handled everything that well. But she is coming around, and she answered some more questions for me. When Mom had an affair years ago, and got pregnant with me, my parents started divorce. Mom moved in with the man she had the affair with, but after a few months that guy decided he wants nothing to do with it. He kicked Mom out, and she had nowhere to go. So, my grandparents took her in, because she was still the mother of their nephew's grandkids. I am getting a lot of heat for this mistake. But no, in my family's culture, grandparents call their grandkids nephews as well. Mom and Dad got back together, after a lot of work. Dad took me as his own, and that's my life since then. The man who is my natural father is not in the picture anymore. Dad didn't really know who he is, and Mom hasn't heard or seen him ever since. He was fully aware Mom was pregnant with his child. I guess he had more important things to do. But it doesn't sound like he was about to cure world hunger. She met him in a bar, not at a fundraiser. And I don't feel a need to know any more about who he is. I thought about the matter the last 2 weeks, since I've been aware of everything, and haven't really felt a desire to know who he is, where he is, if he is still alive, if I have other siblings out there. I was suggested to go and buy a DNA kit from 23andMe. Maybe I can find him that way. But I think I will avoid doing this specifically, so I don't find him, or he finds me. As far as I care, I have a mom and dad and a brother and a sister, and that's my family. Moving forward I do plan of getting a job, and becoming more independent, but not in an attempt to distance myself from my family, but to feel like I would not be lost in the world if my family suddenly disappears. My mom admits I've been babied way more than my siblings, and that they should have prepared me more for what's coming next. I did learn where I stand with my family, and it's safe to say that I am loved, and I have options. I thought I am isolated, but my world is wider than I thought. Grandparents, siblings, my aunt, my cousins, all have my back. I think my parents are human, and they make mistakes, and even though this was not their greatest moment, I think I will look at everything as nothing more than a weak moment in an otherwise wonderful relationship. Thank you. The next one is titled, I Ada for calling my ex-wife delusional because of her crazy request. My son has a best friend, Adrian, whom he's been very close to since 6th grade. Both boys are 16. Adrian does not have the best home life. Father is long gone, and his mother is a regular drug user who's gone majority of the time. Back then he'd be over all the time for dinner, and we always made sure he had food to take home with him. The situation got worse when schools decided to switch to online, and so I invited him to move in with me April of last year. He's always been a good kid, so having him here is a delight. My son loves that his best friend practically lives with us now, and we've agreed this can remain permanent until he moves out if that's what he'd like. With Adrian here, my son has wanted to stay here more and more. My ex-wife and I have joint custody, 1 week with her then the next with me. He's begged my ex a few times to let him stay here a few extra days and sometimes she agrees. But I can tell these bothers her, so I've told my son he needs to spend time with his mom too, and Adrian will be here when he comes back. Besides, it's not like they can't chat or see each other for a whole week. My son has started asking if it would be possible to stay here during the week and then go with his mom weekends. My ex was told about this, and she's pissed at me. Firstly, she accused me of only inviting Adrian to move in with me to make my son want to stay there more, and second, she asked that I have Adrian move back to his mom's because it's unfair to use him as an advantage. Just the ridiculousness of it all made me laugh over the phone because no, I'm not sending a kid back to their drug addict mother who doesn't even care that he's not there right now. I called her delusional for even thinking this was done to get some sort of brownie points from my son to make him want to stay here, and she's just plain crazy if she really thinks I'd go along with a request like that. So now I'm being called a jackass for insulting her when she has every right to feel that I'm using this against her. I don't see how, but that's her point of view. She's definitely mad at me over it, so I'd like to know if calling her names was taking things too far. A user in the comments said, "NTA. She is delusional, it is a ridiculous request. Maybe you could have rejected her a little nicer at first. Understand that you would probably feel hurt if your son wanted to spend less and less time with you too. While her feelings are misguided, they are understandable. However, asking to send a kid back to a bad home when you have no inclination to do so just so she feels like you don't have an advantage, is absolutely absurd. Is there any reason why Adrian can't go over to her house sometimes too?" Another user said, "NTA. Your son is old enough that the courts would take his preferences strongly into consideration when it comes to which parent he wants to live with. Do you have any guardianship papers or the like for Adrian? On the off chance anything goes wrong, I don't know if you'd be able to get him medical treatment." The next one is titled, "I ate a for being mad at my wife for causing a scene at the restaurant? My wife has long-lasting issues with her mother. She hasn't spoken to her in 6 years. To be frank, I've never understood why my wife doesn't want her mother around. All I know is their relationship went south after my Phil divorced my Mill. It was a decision they both made, so I don't get why she keeps punishing her mother like that. I was open to have meetings with my Mill. I have been in contact with her for a year and my wife knew. She said it's up to me to want to have a relationship with her mom, but I shouldn't try to make her re-establish a relationship with her. Things remained the same for months. My Mill would see my wife few times a week, but they don't talk. And I just thought that my wife and Mill were stuck in this conflict and needed one meeting to at least open up to tackle this issue. Especially before our son is born. I arranged for dinner at a restaurant on Mother's Day. My wife thought it was just 2 of us, but I kept giving her hints about the person I was expecting. My Mill arrived and next thing I knew my wife got up from her seat and started yelling in front of everybody. I told her that her mom tried many times to reconcile, but she was being unfair with her grudge-holding attitude and not giving her a chance for a sincere talk. All I asked for was to sit down and talk things out with her mom. She said she didn't want to see her especially on this day and thought I was doing this for her as a mom. And I was. I begged her to sit, and I'd get her mom to leave if she was bothered that much, but she didn't listen. My Mill was standing behind crying while everyone was looking. My wife took her phone and purse then left. I had mixed feelings, but I felt mostly upset. Things played out different than what I had in mind since my wife no problem with her mom speaking to me. My wife has been staying with a friend for a week. I visited her twice to talk and every time we ended up arguing. I told her she didn't need to cause a scene at the restaurant and could have been a little bit graceful to sit with her mom at the table to talk, but she said I needed to blame myself. I asked her, didn't Mother's Day mean anything to her? All I got was a cold stare. Growing up without my mother made my life incomplete. I never had any mother figures in my life, and it's because of my father. I just think everyone should count her their blessing, and she should realize it's never too late to fix the problem between her and her mom if she chooses to see how lucky she was to still have her mom alive. But she kept blaming me for the scene at the restaurant and said she won't forget that day and flat out told me, "You know what's the worst thing about betrayal? It never comes from an enemy. This complicated the matter more. I thought about what went wrong and it's clear my wife isn't willing to even try. A user in the comments said, YTA. Not all mothers are kind and good. Some are incredibly toxic people who can be cruel, vindictive, and unrelenting. Your wife does not owe it to you or her mother to have a relationship. Back off. Also, don't be surprised if divorce papers follow this event. I know I'd leave anyone who pulled this in regard to the parent I am no contact with. Another user said, you are so beyond being taught that there isn't even a word to describe it. You'll be lucky if this hasn't ended your marriage. If my husband pulled this on me with my father, I'd immediately leave him, no questions asked, and we've been married more than 30 years. You need to deal with your own unresolved mommy issues. You are so much the butthole. Honestly, you'll be lucky if this doesn't make your wife hate you. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.